The Arabian Peninsula for ages a land of dunes, wind and sand. Yet, after centuries of precarious development, the region is now one of incredible growth and progress, wealth and luxury. Home to 7 countries boasting some of the world's most cosmopolitan cities, today's Arabian Peninsula bears testimony to human ingenuity, the ability to turn barren, sterile soil into a lush, fertile oasis. Its most prosperous cities are sophisticated neural financial hubs, influential cultural centres and world-class tourist destinations boasting avant-garde architecture, and most importantly, jobs for people from around the world. Underneath the sand and rock lies the source of this wealth, oil. Its exploitation has transformed the region, yielding unprecedented riches in less than a century. For hundreds of years, nomadic tribes dominated the peninsula. They depended on cattle and the limited agriculture afforded by its few oases, along with fishing and pearl cultivation along the shores. Then the 7th century saw the introduction of Islam. Its prophet, Muhammad, was born in Mecca about 570 and first began preaching there in 610 before migrating to Medina in 622. From Medina, he and his companion united the Arabian tribes under Islam's banner, creating a single Arab-Muslim religious polity. Since then, this region has remained eminently Muslim territory, ruled by royal dynasties that, in differing degrees, have tolerated Christianity within their kingdoms. Although today a minority religion, Christianity has actually been present in this region since the 1st century, with the New Testament book of Acts recording Arab conversions to the faith. Following the fall of large portions of former Byzantine provinces to Arab armies, a vast Christian population came under Arab-Muslim dominance. As Muslim commanders expanded their empire throughout Asia, Africa and Southern Europe, they offered 3 conditions to the conquered: convert to Islam, pay the jizya tax every year, or face a war to the death. Those refusing war or conversion were deemed to have agreed to the jizya. It is generally accepted that after Islam's rapid expansion from the 7th century onward, many Christians remained faithful. The 21st century is now seeing a growing openness to religious diversity in stark contrast to earlier times. In fact, Christianity is experiencing one of its highest growth rates here. In many places, churches are filled to capacity, unable to embrace all the faithful who turn to them in search of a liturgical life. The boom has come mainly from the millions of non-native workers hailing from over 100 countries flooding this region. In the United Arab Emirates alone, 85% of an almost 9 million population are non-citizens. While oil ignited the progress, nowadays financial services, tourism, real estate and high-tech development represent the new economic forces shaping the region. However, amid glittery civic façades, hordes of migrant workers live in sparse conditions. Like desert Bedouins enticed by a legendary oasis, they seek abundant prosperity, but instead find themselves trapped in a reality diametrically opposed to the mirage that brought them here.
I would like to guess that about 70–80% of people coming here never really improve their lot. They simply end up frustrated. Some are even dejected and they return home without anything at all. It's a struggle because I guess it's the society itself making it a little bit tough for everyone. These Asians who come thinking that they will have a better life should think twice, because some of them or most of them are not really prepared to come. Some have not even finished studies. even finish the proper work ethics, but they simply come because of the promise that life will be better. And this is, the problem really begins back home. And the problem is the image of Dubai projected in the world. And you go to Satwa, you go to Karama, you go to Murakabat, you go to some places where life is really miserable. In one space like this, you will find about 8 double-deckers. 8. And they share a small kitchen and one small toilet for about 16 of them. And I think that is not the worst. Because in that big villa, not so big villa, I was told that there were 52 of them living in that villa. So what they show you is only, of course, the good part. If you want to see the real Dubai, maybe you have to come with us and we'll show you.
Although varying from country to country, in general, worker mistreatment and a lack of rights is common. Low economic growth in their own countries often drive workers to the peninsula to support families back home. For many, even a meagre income is better than nothing. Unfortunately, many must pay recruitment fees to the people who find them work, and in some cases work visas can cost up to a year's wages. Unions and labour strikes are not permitted in the region, and insubordinate workers are immediately deported back home. 12-hour shifts for 6 or even 7-day work weeks without overtime pay are common. Some struggle to send home no more than $100 a month, despite working 11-hour days, 6 days a week. Low-end job foreign workers can't keep their passports, which are usually held by the person who recruited them, thus controlling mobility. The vast majority of workers live in labour camps, large facilities with dormitories and common areas. While some claim on-site leisure facilities and a wide range of recreational pursuits, their conditions vary greatly. Some conform to international labour standards, while others are meagre and inadequate. Conditions worsen if foreigners illegally overstay their visas. In some cases, up to 14 workers might have to share 80 square metre rooms. The neighbourhoods surrounding these labour camps have become cities of men, where thousands live solitary lives alongside their male counterparts. The sociological phenomena are strikingly challenging. Women too suffer similar conditions, and in a place where millions of men and women share this plight, loneliness pervades. Contractors often fall behind on paying workers' salaries. With no legal bodies to protect them, it is not uncommon for workers to end up unpaid. They become trapped, unable to buy an airfare back home or pay their fines for remaining illegally in the country. Hubs for the ultra-rich, food is costly in some of these cities, and workers might spend up to a third of their salary just to eat. Retirement programs are also non-existent, sending workers aged 65 back to their home countries without any steady source of income, since losing a job means one must legally depart within 30 days. These conditions combine to breed racism and a society full of people living a second-class existence, in stark contrast to the abundance of benefits enjoyed by local citizens.
We have about 9 million inhabitants, and out of these, only 1 million are locals, Emiratis, are citizens, and 8 million are so-called expatriates, foreigners of many nationalities. And we can say we have 2 classes of people living here. The locals, they have better housing, they have better health care, free schooling, even better salaries for the same job, and they speak Arabic among themselves, have their own culture and traditions and customs. Whereas all the expatriates, they belong to a different world, a different culture, and live a different lifestyle.
In general, in my vicariate is the same. The condition of the workers are like the conditions in the other countries of the Gulf. What we need is that every government makes laws to protect the workers. There is no law to protect a worker, so anybody can be sent away in 1 second.
Broken families remains another prevailing issue faced by migrants all over the world.
These bachelor men, since they are living here alone, not with their families, and sometimes, they find themselves in a situation that they feel the need of being with somebody. That's why many here, without families, sometimes resort to have illicit relationship, It's common in the Middle East countries because of loneliness, somebody to talk with. So we try to encourage them to join the church activities, to make themselves active in the church. Because if you are only alone in the house after working, you think of other many things, going to nightlife. It's normal thing here. Not only bachelors, also handmaids, we call it. Women without husbands here also.
Amid these struggles, practicing the faith also remains a challenge. Although the relationship between Muslims and Christians is cordial in most countries, that is not the case everywhere. Moreover, while Christians in these countries are technically free to practice their faith, and the local religious hierarchy respects this, restrictions do exist. All the peninsula countries forbid conversions from Islam to another religion as well as interfaith marriages. All require government authorization for religious personnel within their borders. All strictly limit the construction of religious buildings and forbid religious symbols as exterior architecture. All prohibit Catholic seminaries within their territories. And finally, of the 7 countries, Saudi Arabia has the strictest limit on religious freedom. No religious building, no possession of Bibles in public places, no religious gatherings without prior authorization. In fact, believers may not even publicly wear crosses or import religious articles, from rosaries to Bibles. To be fair, in some cases local authorities and even royal families exhibit greater tolerance towards other religions, but they are at times pressured to curtail religious liberties by ultra-conservative and fundamentalist groups, ministers and advisors within their governments and courts.
The problem is not with the normal Muslims. 95% of the Muslims are moderate. Only 5% are fundamentalists. And this 5% makes a big noise. And it seems that all the Muslims are like them. In fact, it is not like that. So the relations of our Christians are much more with the moderate Muslims than with this 5% of fundamentalists. In general, the relations are good. And I cannot say that the governments try to make a proselytism. It is not. They are the fundamentalists who try to proselytize, to conquer Christians, to convert them to Islam. But this is not the policy of the governments.
To promote rapid development, the Arabian countries have promoted greater religious freedom, although it is always strictly regulated and still subject to extreme measures and abuses. A growing Catholic Church finds herself having to confront this situation head-on.
In an Islamic society, we know we have not the same rights and not the same freedom. Also, simply being foreigners in the civil sense of the word, of course. I'm always saying the church has no foreigners, but the civil society knows foreigners. Nobody has the citizenship of this country, and that puts us in a particular situation. Then being a Christian means we are a minority in Muslim society, which is well established since centuries, and that may sometimes create the feeling that we are not to the full right as we would enjoy in other countries. But coming to the daily life of the church, I have to say that we can live here, especially in the United Arab Emirates, where we have a respectable freedom of worship.
Against this backdrop, the vibrant life of Catholic parishes and religious centres is indeed astonishing. This is a region of great achievements. Abu Dhabi boasts the most luxurious hotel and the largest mosque in the world. Qatar is building the world's biggest airport, and Dubai, home of the world's tallest building, also has the biggest Catholic parish in the world.
The parishioners are about, well, roughly, it's not easy to quantify, but roughly it should be 300,000 to 400,000.
Having to do with people from different cultures, languages, church traditions is a special challenge for our priests, and also for the bishop, because it can be the source not only of riches, but also of conflicts. Think about that many people do not understand, or at least not speak well English. Of course, they prefer to have, for example, the masses in their own language. What we do, as far as it is possible, and we have the manpower for. So, although English being the common language for the daily use and for the main offices we have, we are celebrating the sacraments also in Tagalog, in Malayalam, in Konkani, and so on, in different languages.
I think the biggest challenge is how to bring together all the communities coming from all over the world. I think it's every parish priest's challenge in this part of the world. It's not easy. We have to consider not only the languages, but also the rights. This is one thing which we all dream of, unity, but in fact we are far away from it.
In our vicariate, we have all the rites. As you know, there are 8 Oriental rites, 6 from Arabic origin, from Antioch, in general Byzantium, and 2 from India. So 8 Oriental rites plus the Latin rite, so 9 rites. In Kuwait, for example, we celebrate in 5 rites in one church. We celebrate in 12 languages in one church. So we need a priest from the different rites. To provide the spiritual formation of all these rites and the people, we need many more priests than what we have. Every group wants to be alone, to be separated from the others, to be independent. So it is difficult to put all these people together. But the danger is that we have many Catholic churches beside each other, and not one Catholic church. So the challenge is how to form among all these rites one Catholic church, with respect for the liturgy of every rite.
That's why the bishop is strong in his word to avoid exclusivism, but we have to be, in spite of our diversities, we have to be one, united.
Padre, Hijo y Espíritu Santo, descienda sobre todos nosotros.
The parish becomes to them a place to re-encounter their identity and culture. It becomes a point of reference.
Following some criteria, we can say that in Bahrain we have 140,000 Catholics. In Qatar, around 350,000. In Kuwait, between 350,000 400,000. In Saudi Arabia, 1.5 million Catholics, only Catholics.
With another million in the Southern Vicariate, the total Catholic population in the Arabian Peninsula could swell to 3 million faithful. With a mere 20 churches serving the whole territory, constructing more is a major challenge. Significantly, thanks to a generous gift of land from the King of Bahrain, the Vicariate is taking on the challenge of building a cathedral there, dedicated to Our Lady of Arabia. Patroness of the entire peninsula, it will be a beacon of hope for all Christians, a symbol of the continuity of the faith in this important region.
The new cathedral should take at least 2,000 people. Besides that, we need also place for formation, because when we receive the people only for Mass, it is not enough for formation of the Christians. Here the Christians have a very difficult life, not because of the government, because they left in their own country, they left their family, they left their relatives, they left their friends. They are here alone. So here our faithful suffer very, very much. So they need a special spiritual formation to help them to remain what they are. Otherwise they are lost.
Many parishioners cross the border from Saudi Arabia, where there are no churches.
From Saudi Arabia, people come to Bahrain, especially our Catholics comes to Bahrain, for the main reason of attending church services and receiving sacraments. Many people come to Bahrain because there is established church here. There is a church and compound, and they can come and freely they can pray, they can express their faith. And every Friday, believe me, every Friday there are people who keep coming.
The horizon to which the Catholic Church in Arabia is looking to is clearly marked by an emphasis on the formation and catechesis for children in parishes and schools. These are the ones who will serve as the future bridges between cultures, uniting all into one fraternal community.
Here, having a classroom from all different countries. There because they want to be, because at that age catechism is not mandatory. It's really a lot of fun, and the ideas that the young people come up with. So it's a wonderful dynamic thing to teach here.
The children in catechism, it's one of the greatest wonders in the world you find here in Dubai. Because I don't think you will find a parish with 6,000 children attending Sunday school. And it's really amazing how the sisters have organized this program, and the education is excellent because the teachers, the catechists themselves are taking up masteral degrees. It's really very inspiring. And you can see the fruits. And if the children are very enthusiastic to come, then they are very effective.
To be sure, the Church faces many challenges in this historic, rapidly developing region. Yet, throughout its history, the faith has taken root and flourished in the most unexpected of soils. Despite the many difficulties faced by Christians here, there is much cause for hope, and little doubt that the Church can continue to grow and thrive amid the sand, rock and ever-changing culture of the Arabian Peninsula.